Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Monday, March 6, 2023, and I am here to talk to you guys about the 6-game slate that we have in the NBA tonight. If you are new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit subscribe. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we would love to have you join us. You can join us. We have memberships that start as low as $3 for 3 days. So we hope to see you at DFS Coach Talk soon. Hope everybody's having a great Monday so far. So we can go ahead and get right into this 6-game slate. Starting with the first game, we've got the 7 o'clock Eastern Boston Celtics at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland is favored by 8. It has a 218 over under. The reason that Cleveland is heavily favored, despite having a lesser record than Boston, is because Jason Tatum is out tonight, and so are Al Horford and Robert Williams, coming off the back-to-back against the Knicks yesterday. Had the disappointing loss in double overtime for Boston, so they rested some guys today, or they're going to rest some guys. Their starting lineup is going to be Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Sam Hauser, Grant Williams, and Mike Muscala. That's projected starting lineup. For the Cavs, we've got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, who's listed as questionable, but he did participate in the shoot-around today. So I do think that Donovan Mitchell will play. Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. This game has the lowest over-under on the slate. It's getting quite a bit of ownership, surprisingly, and it's just because of the value that's opened up. But I'm not sure that this is the best game to target, and I'm going to explain why and go over what I think is the best game by far later on. So we got the Celtics. Obviously, with Jason Tatum out, Jaylen Brown's going to get some ownership. He's 8,800 on DraftKings, 9,100 on FanDuel, $35 on Yahoo. He's 16% projected on DraftKings, 14.3% on FanDuel, and 22.4% on Yahoo. I'm probably not going to go there. I think there's better options at the pay-up spot for his price. But, without Tatum in the lineup, it's something that you can always consider. Then you have Derek White. He's 5,400 on DraftKings, 5,700 on FanDuel, $22 on Yahoo. He's averaged 30.1 DraftKings points without Jason Tatum this year. He's drawing a lot of ownership, 28.3% on DraftKings, 50.6% on FanDuel, 15.8% on Yahoo. And if we look at the matchup, the Cavaliers have allowed the very fewest fantasy points to point guards. I think he's terrible chalk. I don't think he's just bad chalk. I think he's terrible chalk. So hopefully he doesn't go out and have a big night, but I will not be playing Derek White tonight. Also don't like the other play here for value with Grant Williams. Cleveland's just a really good defensive team. 3,400 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel, and $10 on Yahoo. He's 37.6% on DraftKings, 29.9% on FanDuel, 27.6% on Yahoo. Before all the Tatum news and everything, my favorite play in this game was Donovan Mitchell. He's coming in at very low ownership. He's 4.1% on DraftKings, 1.4% on FanDuel, 7.4% on Yahoo. And depending if De'Aaron Fox plays, I could be going to Donovan Mitchell as my only play from this game. All right, the next game we've got also at 7 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trailblazers at the Detroit Pistons. Portland's favored by 5, has a 229.5 over under. The second lowest, I believe, or it's just right there with Atlanta and Miami. And Toronto, Denver, actually, they're all right there for the over under on the night. So we've got Portland. They've got Abubaji and Arcidiacono are out. But then Nurkic, Simons, and Winslow are also out. So you've got, for the projected starting lineup, you've got Damian Lillard, Cam Reddish, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant going up against his old team here in Detroit, and then Drew Eubanks. And then for the Pistons, they've got a ton of guys out as well. Isaiah Stewart, Bogdanovich, and Jalen Duren are all out. Killian Hayes, Rodney Magruder, and James Wiseman are questionable. Right now, you've got a projected starting lineup for Detroit: Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Isaiah Livers, Marvin Bagley, and James Wiseman. Hayes and Wiseman, as I said, are questionable. The only plays I'm really looking at in this game is a couple on Portland. Damian Lillard is one of them. He's very expensive on DraftKings. He's 11.6 over there. He's 10.8 on FanDuel, $50 on Yahoo. Detroit's allowed the third most fantasy points to point guards this year. He's averaged 60.1 DraftKings points his last 10 games. Coming in at decent ownership, 25% on DraftKings, 33.6 on FanDuel, and 24.2 on Yahoo. The next play that I like, though, Jeremy Grant, 7,100 on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel, and $27 on Yahoo. He did have 42 DraftKings points against the Pistons the last time he faced them on January 2nd. His ownership's a little bit lower, 15.4% on DraftKings, 19.7% on FanDuel, and a little bit more respectable at 24.4 on Yahoo. Then we have Cam Reddish, who's been playing really well, especially with Anthony Simons out. He's 4,300 on DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel, and $27 on Yahoo. He's coming in at 29.1% on DraftKings, 20.2% on FanDuel, and 22.4 on Yahoo. And then on the Pistons, the only play I'm really looking at with Isaiah Stewart out is Marvin Bagley. He's 5,500 on DraftKings, 6,200 on FanDuel, $19 on Yahoo. Portland's allowed the fourth most fantasy points to centers this year. His ownership's pretty high, 42.6 on DraftKings, 39% on FanDuel, 31.4% on Yahoo. But unlike Derek White, I do think he's a decent chalk play for this slate. All right, the next game is the Philadelphia 76ers at the Indiana Pacers. Also starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Before we get into that, let's take a look at the chat and see what questions you guys have. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Doug. What's going on, guys? Hopefully we'll have some more guys join us here in a second. So the next game is the Philadelphia 76ers at the Indiana Pacers. Philadelphia comes in favored by 7, has a 232 over under. Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker are both listed as questionable for the Sixers. They got injured in the game Saturday against my Bucks, which we unfortunately lost. That was a tough one. And then the Pacers, they've got Tyrese Halliburton. He is listed as questionable. And then Aaron Naismith is also listed as questionable. So we got a projected starting lineup: James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and PJ Tucker if they play, and then Joel Embiid for the Sixers. For the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, like I say, he's questionable. Aaron Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, questionable, and Miles Turner. So in this game, I do like – he's expensive, but I do like Embiid. I actually think I might like James Harden more than Embiid here. Just because of the price difference, but I think that they're both decent plays for pay-up options. Embiid's 11.3 on DraftKings, 11.8 on FanDuel, and $54 on Yahoo. He is averaging 60.8 DraftKings points in his last 10 games against Indiana. They have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to centers this year. His ownership's not too crazy, 22.4% on DraftKings, only 10.7 on FanDuel, and 17.8 on Yahoo. Then we have James Harden, who's coming off just an unbelievable game against Milwaukee on Saturday with 69.3 DraftKings points. He has averaged 57.4 in his 2 games against the Pacers this year. So he's had some decent numbers against them as well. He's 10.1 on DraftKings, 10.3 on FanDuel, and $42 on Yahoo. Ownership-wise, he's at 17.4% on DraftKings, 13.4% on FanDuel, and 24% on Yahoo. The other play I like for the Sixers, been playing really well lately because they put him in the starting lineup, is Tyrese Maxey. He's 5,500 on DraftKings, 6,800 on FanDuel, and $21 on Yahoo. He's averaged 38.9 DraftKings points in his last 3 games. The Pacers have allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to shooting guards this year. He's at 33% on DraftKings. That's by far the highest for him on this slate. 16.1% on FanDuel and 21.8% on Yahoo. And then for the Pacers, I do like Tyrese Halliburton if he plays. He's 9,200 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. He scored 50-plus DraftKings points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's averaging 46.4 DraftKings points against Philadelphia this year. He's only 4.4% on DraftKings, 7.5% on FanDuel, and 4.8% on Yahoo. So very low owned. That questionable tag is certainly hurting his ownership numbers. And if he plays, I do think he's a solid play. Then we have Buddy Hield. He's $5,900 on DraftKings, $6,600 on FanDuel, and $25 on Yahoo. He's averaged 44.4 DraftKings points in 2 games against the Sixers this year. He did have 53.3 against Philadelphia on January 4th. Very low ownership, 3.2% on DraftKings, 1.1 on FanDuel, and 0.2 on Yahoo. So Buddy Hield is definitely going to be a core play in my lineups tonight. With that low ownership and the numbers he's put up against the Sixers, I think it's a really good matchup. And then TJ McConnell, if Halliburton's out, he's going to be in play. His ownership, as you would expect, is very low as of now. But if he's ruled out, then he could be a play as well. Next game we have at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the Atlanta Hawks at the Miami Heat. Miami is favored by 2.5. It has a 229 over under. These teams just played against each other on was that Saturday or Friday or something like that, just a couple days ago that these teams met. So yeah, on Saturday. So we've got for the Hawks, looks like they're going to be healthy. They don't have anybody listed on their injury report. And then we have for the Heat, Kevin Love and Kyle Lowry are out. Same thing with Nikola Jovic. So we've got for the Hawks, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. And then for Miami, Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, and Bam Adebayo. So for the Hawks, there's not really anyone I like, honestly. And the only player I really like on Miami is Bam Adebayo. So this is not going to be a high-owned game for me at all. As I mentioned, Adebayo was somebody I liked on Saturday. We thought that Jimmy Butler might be out. He ended up playing, but, and Bam still smashed. So Adebayo's $8,200 on DraftKings, $8,700 on FanDuel, $34 on Yahoo. He had 57.8 DraftKings points against Atlanta on Saturday, and then 55.8 on January 16th. So I like this matchup for him a lot. He's 16.6% on DraftKings, 13.1% on FanDuel, and $21. He's $34, but 21% on Yahoo. And that's it. That's real simple. Not a whole lot I like from that game. Same thing with this next game, the Toronto Raptors at the Denver Nuggets at 9 p.m. Eastern. Has a 229 over under. Denver is favored by 6. The Raptors are healthy. The Nuggets are not. They've got Zeke Naji and Connor Gillespie, of course, are still out. And then Victor Kankar is questionable. Looks like Thomas Bryant and Michael Porter Jr. Thomas Bryant should play. Michael Porter Jr. is questionable. And so for the starting lineups, we've got Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl. For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Siakam is my favorite play from Toronto. He's $9,000 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. He's averaged 59.1 DraftKings points the last 2 times he faced Denver. Low ownership, 6.2 on DraftKings, 9.4 on FanDuel, and 3.4 on Yahoo. My fade call here is going to be the Joker, actually. He's only scored 48.4 DraftKings points in his last 4 games against the Raptors. They have allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to centers this year. So I am going to be fading the Joker, and for the most part, fading this game in general. So that leads us to the last game of the night. At 10 p.m. Eastern, the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento. And before we get into this game, I'm going to look back at the chat. Yeah, David. I do think that Tyrese Halliburton could be a good play. What's up, Damian? How's it going? Hey, Coach. How's it going? All right, so last game of the night. So we have the New Orleans Pelicans at the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento is favored by 5.5. This game has a 237.5 over under. I think this game is going to go way over that. The reason why I do think this is going to be a close game, especially if De'Aaron Fox sits, I think it's really going to be close, but I think it's going to be close either way. I think these are two pretty evenly matched teams, and Sacramento's been playing really well lately. I think that it's going to go way over that over-under total, because if you look at Sacramento, even not looking at just the game they had the other day where they scored 176, I think it was, against the Clippers, in their last 10 games, they are averaging 130.4 points per game, real points. So their games have been like, the other day, I think it was 136 to 135. They just had a lot of very high scoring games. I think the 260 to 270 is a lot more realistic than the 237.5 that the Vegas is showing. So I think it's going to be a very high scoring game once again. And I just think you can stack this game. I know it's the last game of the night, so the ownership, as it usually is a little bit lower than you might expect for the highest over-under on the slate. Looks like the public is going more with the Pelicans here. And we've got, starting out with Brandon Ingram, 8,600 on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel, $35 on Yahoo. But the ownership's not crazy by any means. Ingram's at 17.4 on DraftKings, 24.6 on FanDuel, 19.8 on Yahoo. CJ McCollum is both 8,100 on DraftKings and FanDuel and $29 on Yahoo, is 9.9% on DraftKings, 16.2% on FanDuel, and 23.8 on Yahoo. Trey Murphy is 4,400 on DraftKings, 5,200 on FanDuel, $14 on Yahoo. He had 42.5 DraftKings points against Sacramento on February 5th. He's at 25.3 on DraftKings, 25.8 on FanDuel, and 23.4 on Yahoo. Then we have Willie Hernan-Gomez. This is really interesting because he had 50 DraftKings points the last time he faced the Kings, which was on February 5th. He's 4,600 on DraftKings, 4,900 on FanDuel, $12 on Yahoo, and he is projected to start. Currently, he is at 0.1% on all three sites. So I think that he could be a really nice play at no ownership, basically. I didn't really go over the injury report, so let me go over that real quick. So we've got Valanciunas is listed as questionable. I don't think he's going to play. And then they've got a whole slew of guys: Alvarado, EJ Liddell, Larry Nance Jr., Josh Richardson, and Zion Williamson are all out. For the Kings, as I mentioned, Fox is going to be questionable, and then same thing with Rashawn Holmes. So those are going to be mostly the plays for the Pelicans. And then on the Kings, if Fox plays, I do like him. He's 9,500 on DraftKings, 9,300 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. He's listed as a game time decision. He's averaged 52.6 DraftKings points in his last 5 games. He's 4.7% on DraftKings, 9.1 on FanDuel, 8.6 on Yahoo. So once again, like we saw with the Tyrese Halliburton questionable tag, the ownership is being driven down. Then we have Domantas Sabonis. He's 10K on DraftKings, 9,700 on FanDuel, $41 on Yahoo. The Pelicans have allowed the 7th most fantasy points to centers this year. He's coming in at 9.1% on DraftKings, 15.4 on FanDuel, and 11.6 on Yahoo. Kevin Huerter, I think, is another solid play. He's been playing really well lately. He had like 39 DraftKings points on Saturday against Minnesota. He was just hitting 3 after 3. He was on fire. And then if De'Aaron Fox is out, then you can look at Davion Mitchell. He is only, let's see what his price is. He's 3,200 on DraftKings. Of course, he's not getting any ownership at this point. 4,300 on FanDuel, and I'm assuming $10. Yeah, $10 on Yahoo. So good value if De'Aaron Fox is out. But I just think that game in general is not getting, quite as much ownership as I would have thought for the way the Kings have been playing. And they've been playing in a lot of close games, high-scoring games, and I think they're a great game to stack. All right, so for 1 second, one question here I saw. Favorite pay-ups and values, that's all going to depend on the news. At this point, I think, it's tough to say because we don't know about De'Aaron Fox, but probably between him and Halliburton are two of my top pay-ups. Value, I mean, there's quite a, and then Bam Adebayo. I like him too, but he's not quite as much of a pay-up option. Just looking over this slate again. Value-wise, if Fox is out, you got Davion Mitchell. Cam Reddish, I think, is another decent value play. Hernan Gomez could be a decent value. Trey Murphy looks like he's going to be a good value play. And then on the mid-level, you could look at Buddy Hield. I think he's going to be a good mid-level play. All right, so for PrizePicks, my top PrizePicks plays as of now, and this could definitely change due to whatever news we get later. Bam Adebayo, more than 39.5 fantasy score. As I mentioned, he had 57.8 on Saturday and 55.8 the game before that against Atlanta. So I like the matchup for him. And then Cam Reddish with Anthony Simons out. He's been a really good play. He's at 22.5 fantasy score. I like the more than on that as well. And that, if anyone doesn't have any more questions, that is going to wrap it up. Let me check real quick. Yeah, I think Hernan Gomez will get some run today. He is listed as the starter for New Orleans, and I do think they've got Nance out and Zion Williamson, of course, still out. So I do think he'll get some run. So that is going to do it, guys. Hope everybody has a great Monday. Let's absolutely crush it. And I believe that Deb is going to be in tomorrow as we continue to look to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.